It's Z-Max Dragway, and on behalf of Joe Costello and Bruno Massel, I'm Brian Loans. We look forward to seeing you down the road. Whether it's Georgia, Chicago, or Bristol, come on out and see us. Thanks for watching. For the first time in the quarter-century history of the NHRA JBS Service Pro Modified Series presented by Elite Motorsports, the tour will head to South Georgia Motorsports Park for the return of the NHRA Southern Nationals. An incredible race weekend at a facility that has never hosted 250-mile-an-hour Pro Modified cars before, but it has hosted a ton of door slammer racing over the years. Many of the drivers and many of the crew chiefs have familiarity with this racetrack just north of the Florida Panhandle, and they're going to try to turn that familiarity into success. Hey everybody, it's Brian Loans here to bring you the action from the Southern Nationals, and we kick things off with Lyle Barnett. Amanda Busick's with him in the pits.
The NHRA National Series comes to South Georgia Motorsports Park, and so does Pro Mod. And that guy is the #3 qualifier here at the Southern Nationals. Why does this place epitomize your style of racing?
Well, you know, this place has a lot of history. It and I do. I had, one of the worst times of my life happened here. Nearly was killed in a drag racing crash here in 2015 and battled back. And to come back here, I won the first race back in Jason Digby's Dart in 2017. And to come here in Pro Mod for the first time running quarter mile is pretty cool. You know, we went 5:66, which was a personal best in the car and my personal best to the quarter mile in Pro Mod trim. So, pretty cool to qualify in the top half. But, Billy Banica gave me an opportunity this year that I didn't think I was going to have to run the full season and compete. I love running out here. Quarter mile Pro Mods are some of the coolest things that God's ever put on this earth, and I'm just a lucky one that gets to drive them.
Lyle's story intrinsically connected to South Georgia Motorsports Park, always an intense competitor. We see now the national points as Menhold is the points leader by 30 right now. You can see Justin Bond in that second spot. Lyle Barnett sitting in the 9th spot. 98 points back gives you an indication of just how tight things are to go 10 places back and only see a spread of about 100 points. Qualifying session 1, Mike Severinos had issues in qualifying session 1. You can see the car hanging out sideways. Justin Bond flew to the finish line. We caught up with Mike Severinos to find out exactly what happened on this 591 blast.
We're on a good rip. Probably going to go low of the round according to the short track numbers. Top end somewhere a little bit past the 8th mile. She dropped the valve and created a lot of work between Q1 and Q2. The guys thrashed. I mean, we really didn't think we were going to make it, and you're trying to keep a mental state where you really want to just try to get all that out of your head while you're pulling up there, because getting up there really was like just last minute. I'm like, man, we're not going to make this. We're not going to make this. And it was such a crucial deal because with the weather tomorrow, so all I had in my head there was like, man, if we don't make this, we're not going to get it. Tomorrow we don't have nothing left. And I just seen the bump spot drop, and I was like, oh, this is bad. But no, we made a great rip. I'm happy with it. Like I said, let's see what happens tomorrow if the weather holds out, and we'll get another one.
That is a team with global experience, and they showed it getting that car turned around. Now, Derek Menhold, we talked about his position in the points, and that is no mistake. This car has been a missile. They had an off weekend a race ago, but boy, this weekend they have been flying.
That last pair out there, you guys really showed up and showed out. 255, 253 for you. Got a little crazy down there. Could you see anything? I know he was behind you, but did you know?
No, I'd watched Billy the pass before, so I just want to make sure I didn't on the brakes at all. Because he came over, I was in the left lane, he came over to the left lane, so I was like, I heard he got really close. He kind of wiped me out there, so.
Saw Billy Banica's wild ride in the shutdown area there. Nick Janik, a great story this weekend. He had to fight his way into the field, and this team has battled with this Corvette and with their performance for more than a year, and it came out on their favor this weekend. Courtney talked to him.
The 4-link has really thrown me for a loop, and I'm trying to learn it. I've learned everything not to do. I'm trying to learn what to do, but we're getting there. It's like Alcohol Funny Car was 15 years ago. You got to fight to qualify, and it's cool. I'd rather be at a race with a bunch of good cars and have to get in to earn it, and yeah, it's pretty cool.
Of course, we now move to qualifying session 3. Rashid Al Belushi working his way down the racetrack ahead of Mason Wright, a multi-time winner on the tour. Al Belushi, a 571, moved him to that number 8 position, picked him up 10 spots.
Yeah, after I finished the run, I jumped until 8th. I was so happy. I knew that I had the car under my belt to go to compete tomorrow, and I got bumped until 11, but I still have confidence on my whole team that we're gonna do our best and race our race tomorrow.
The biggest story from qualifying, though, came from Derek Menhold in the final qualifying session under the lights at SGMP as he ran down a 5.62.3. That is mere hundredths off the national record, one of the quickest runs made in years in this class. Those guys have it dialed in. Our Lucas Oil competition ladder shows Nick Janik left to take on Derek Menhold in round one. Bannick and Stevie Fast Jackson, Stavrinos, Castellana, two guys that can definitely get it done. Gray Thielen, you move over to the other side. Massive matchups. Even Spencer Hyde driving a Pro Modified car this weekend as we get into round one. Highlights here with Billy Bannica, a tire spinning launch. Stevie Fast wiggling in the middle of the racetrack, able to get it to the finish line, and we caught up with him after this pass.
Yeah, that's the first time we've shook here, so you're not ready for it. I let go, and I was like, all right, I don't see him. Then I was like, crap, I'm on two wheels. I look over, and I still don't see him, so it takes a little bit to get these things gathered up. But when runs like that happen, you remember that these things, you do get to drive them sometimes. So you got to be careful when you're dealing with a Georgia boy in Georgia country. Go Dogs, and it's going to be a long day for us. Thank you, fans, for coming out.
Awesome in-car view there as we get a look at Chip King and Rashid Al-Balushi. Chip King's car broke loose early. King has been on a tear this year performance-wise, just hasn't been able to put it together on Sunday. Young Rashid Al-Balushi, the 34 reaction time, a 5.93 at 2:48. That was good enough to move him to round two. Jason Collins was the runner-up in his first NHRA Pro Mod race ever a week ago at ZMAX Dragway. As you can see, he made it across the finish line, a 5.70. The 0.45 reaction time getting him off the blocks. A heck of a lot quicker than Mason Wright. Spencer Hyde's driving a Nitro Funny car this weekend and Stan Shelton's Mustang. Here's what he had to say about it.
This weekend I'm pulling double duty. I'm driving Stan Shelton's Mustang here for Culp Lumber and the NHRA Pro Mod Series. Looking forward to it. Never been down this racetrack, but was here about 10 years ago to watch Lights Out 8. I know it's going to be a fast racetrack. I know it's going to be a good field of cars here, and looking forward to filling in for Stan and hopefully making these guys happy.
Hyde lined up next to Lyle Barnett round one. You can see the car broke loose early like so many did onto this warming racetrack, and it was Barnett working his way to a 5.99. Hyde did his job on the starting line at 0.32 reaction time, kept it within 0.06, but could not get it through the first 330 feet cleanly. Now, Derek Menhold, the number one qualifier, was having issues starting the race here. You could see the starting line official giving them the cut sign at the exact same moment the car started. They were able to get the car lined up next to Nick Janik, which was bad news for Janik, as he had the same issue so many others did early in runs, spinning the tires. Menhold to 5.76, got it done, and that was a tight call. Amanda caught up with him after the run.
Derek, you're going to want to go and look back at the reaction time of your car starting before you were able to participate in that race, but you said you think that the race car is kind of hurt. What was your perspective?
I don't know when it didn't start, what caused that. I don't know if it's just a fueling issue but down track it felt like it was kind of laying over a little bit, so I don't know if we have an issue in the motor, but I think they're going to have something to work on when we get back, but they did a great job.
Justin Bond and Sidney Frigo took their swing at each other at the end of the first round of eliminations, and as you can see, once again, it was the right-hand lane prevailing. Sidney Frigo, a 6.62, 198. By no means with either one of these passes a Mona Lisa, but it was Frigo advancing. We talked to Mike Stavrinos during qualifying. He was taking on Castellana. Castellana couldn't finish the run, but Stavrinos sure could. 5.72 at 254 miles an hour. That team that had the issue in early qualifying, those issues are long gone. J.R. Gray and Mike Thielen ripped off the starting line, and this was a shocker. Thielen getting the job done, the roots blown combination in the heat, getting down the left lane when nobody else could. 5.74.4 at 250 miles an hour. That is how it started to shake out at SGMP. When we come back, we're going to pick it up with more eliminations here under the warming sun of Sunday in Adel, Georgia. Stay with us.
RAF on Fox Nation, where every match is a main event.
Onto the concrete!
Wrestling's top-tier grapplers set to collide for big stakes in Big D. RAF 9 is streaming live Saturday, May 30th, exclusively on Fox Nation.
U.S. Soccer called with this asinine idea that they were going to put a national team together. This was Groundhog Day every single day.
We had no respect around the world. I thought, what if we screwed up soccer forever?
Spring. It's time to run it. Run it until the grass becomes a lawn, until the hedges dug and covered. Then, run it again.
You know you make me wanna lift my head up.
Too cute.
Kick my heels
My shop is officially live.
One of the biggest challenges my clients face is buying and selling a home at the same time. That's why who you work with matters. With HomeLight, we're able to help our clients buy and sell at the same time. It's the most game-changing product in real estate today.
Shopping for car insurance?
Your hold time is 2 hours.
Skip the phone calls. Try Insurify. Compare dozens of quotes and save up to 50%.
I just saved like $1,000.
Go to Insurify.com and save up to $1,000 a year on your car insurance.
Here at JBS Equipment, we're not just building equipment. We're building the future of agriculture. Driven by innovation, grounded in tradition. JBS Equipment, the field's the limit.
Racing has always been about pushing limits, but the future isn't just horsepower, it's intelligence. Vision FT isn't just software, it's a platform, a new way to see, a new way to control, the future at your fingertips. Built for today's racers, everything that comes next. This is Vision FT. This is Fuel Tech.
Competition Products, your source for hardcore engine parts for street, strip, and oval track. Our free catalog is packed with hundreds of product lines from the best-known manufacturers in the performance industry. Lowest prices guaranteed. Free shipping and handling on all orders over $149 in the continental U.S. Need expert advice? Our knowledgeable staff is just a phone call away. Competition Products, race parts sold by racers since 1970.
The NHRA Southern Nationals are presented by JBS Equipment. The field's the limit. And we are back here and rolling a shot of downtown Cecil, Georgia, as we get a look at the local area around the racetrack, which includes those awesome peach orchards and so much farmland, as you can see from this great drone shot. This weekend's action presented by Dixie Trucking for the Pro Modified Series as we get into round number 2 after a Rock'em Sock'em round 1, which was dominated by right lane victories, as were so many other categories over the course of the early part of this race day. We can see the 8 cars moving on. Menholton, Jackson, Stavrinos, Thielen, Collins, Frigo, Barnett, Albelushi. Of these 8 cars, only a handful of them truly made clean runs. So this is kind of still a wide open contest with very few favorites to go. Get well Lee, speaking of Lee White, a guy who works with Lyle Barnett outside of the NHRA and other race cars that he drives. White, an incredibly talented crew chief, suffered a away from the track incident. We certainly wish him the best in his recovery. Rashid Albelushi, the Al-Anabi machine across the racetrack. And Barnett is way out of the groove, as is Albelushi over by the wall. He's going to drag it back to the middle of the drag strip, but at the finish line stripe, it's Barnett catching him. 6:17.9 to 2:44. That was wild. 6:36 at 2:02 for young Mr. Albelushi, who at one point appeared to have it in the bag. Watch this. Look at the door on Barnett's car try to shake itself right off the machine as he had to work the wheel hard early. A comeback victory for the ages here for Barnett. It is at this moment that you think Albelushi's got it covered up. Then he gets way over by the wall, fights it back to the center, but all that time, Barnett had been able to gather momentum, catch him. That was unreal. Now we get a look here at Sidney Frigo, the Artevinco carbon fiber Corvette with that screw supercharged Hemi in it, and Jason Collins, the true starting line absolute technician, proving his ability in this Chris Terry race cars built Steve Petty tuned Camaro. He was almost unstoppable at Z-Max. Frigo knew that, and Frigo was way too early, 1:30 early. And so Collins, with a solid 30 reaction time, goes 5:68 at 2:53, dipping back down into the 5:60s. A 5:69 for Frigo, unfortunately negated by the red light start. We watched that one again. You saw Sidney snap off. It seemed like Collins was dead late, but that in fact was not the problem. It was Frigo being very, very early. Burnouts being completed here for Derek Menholt and Stevie Fast Jackson. Let's go to the top end to Amanda, who is with Lyle Barnett and Rashid Albelushi.
You guys, we took a look at the highlight, and it was a crazy run for both of you. What was going on your side of the track?
Well, you know, you like to think this is why they pay you the big bucks to drive these things. They're pretty easy to drive when everything goes right, but in situations like that, you just got to have a good feeling, the ass of your pants, and be able to get that thing down through there. You know, Rashid's dad, Belushi's been doing this a long time. He's passed the torch, and I'm going to tell you one thing. This kid's here to stay. He's really good at what he does. Neither one of us had a very easy run there, but he did a great job and stepped off of it when he should have, thankfully, because it let me squeak around him. But a good round win for our team going to the semifinals, and I'm proud of this kid, man. He's young, but he's good.
That's got to be really cool to hear. And on your run, how tough was that one for you?
It was a bit hard. The car shook like hard and took me sideways. I tried to pedal it once and bring me towards the wall, so I wasn't like gonna gamble with the car. Like I let off.
All that seat time and all that experience certainly benefiting Lyle Barnett in that moment. Now Menholt and Jackson. Menholt, the #1 qualifier. Oh boy, look at Jackson trying to hang on to it. This is all Derek Menholt all the time. Stevie Fast did wheel absolutely the pro level out of that race car, but Menholt clean 572. Jackson salvaging a miraculous 595 after all he had to go through to get there. But Menholt didn't have any of those problems. Watch this. All the wheel left. You can see him putting some right rudder in there as well. And for Stevie Fast, charge it to the finish line. But for Derek Menholt, he was not having to throw all that rudder into the car. Look at how locked down Menholt's machine is. After almost not starting in round 1, it was absolutely perfect in round number 2 on the right side. Comes Mike Thielen, the Glacier Aviation Mustang, run out of the Janus Racing Camp. And Mike Stavrinos, the Alanabi Performance Chevrolet Camaro. Stavrinos collecting the Wally, the last stop on the tour. Trying to go back-to-back as he did a year ago. Reaction times. Oh, man, Stavrinos, huge wheel stand. You saw the smoke come out of the back of the thing. That was wild. It's going to let Thielen run a 574 at 250 again. He is just knocking him dead over there out of the left-hand side of the racetrack, which nobody else seems to be able to figure out. Let's watch this from Stavrinos' seat. Oh, man, you could see out of the window the angle of the wheel stand, and then all of a sudden the bottom fell out of it. Slow motion view here. Oh, yeah, knocked the blower right off the top of the engine as Mike Thielen with a drive past Stavrinos to the semifinals. When we come back, we'll be talking semifinals down to the final 4 entries here at the Southern Nationals, and the Pro Mods are putting on a heck of a show, just like we knew they would.
Back pain. When you've got it, you know it. Introducing the X-Back from CopperFit, our groundbreaking technology designed for compression support of your lower back and core like you've never experienced before. Engineered with our most innovative, patent-pending, Advanced X compression system. Evenly distributes the support across a broader surface area of your back for relief of lower back aches and pains. A super lightweight mesh fabric, ventilated to increase airflow and release excess heat, an orthopedic designed alloy support panel, and 4 built-in flexible stabilizers to help improve alignment and promote better posture. The all-new X-Back from CopperFit, the most customizable support for relief of lower back pain you will ever wear. Guaranteed or your money back. Get yours now at getxback.com or call 1-800-416-6308. Order right now and your shipping is free. CopperFit. Feel the difference.
We are green. The Indianapolis 500.
This is a story about the one who can fix nearly anything and turns to Grainger, who has almost everything. He troubleshoots issues, maintains the facility, and keeps it all on track. Few may see him put the work in, but when they see the results, they know he's the one who keeps the doors open. The high-quality industrial products you need, plus a million more. Call, click Grainger.com, or stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Men, whip out your sticks. Not that stick, Johnson. Your deodorant sticks. True manliness is understanding that you need to pay attention to your stick. And James here is the only one who seems to have actually done his homework. Dr. Squatch is aluminum-free, natural origin, and comes in incredibly manly scents. So choose natural over synthetic. Dr. Squatch deodorant. Let your stick do the talking.
It is semifinals time here at South Georgia Motorsports Park. You can see the fellas having some fun in the pit area. You can see Alex Laughlin, Billy Banica, and the crew. They are fired up, as well as this man who's in the semifinals, of course, Lyle Barnett. Semifinal round action here. Derek Menholt, who has lived a very smooth life on the right-hand side of the racetrack, and Mike Thielen, the guy who along with the Janus boys, has seemingly figured out the left side that nobody else could get down. We can see it's the 1 and 12 qualifiers on one side, the 2 and 3 qualifiers on the other. Thielen, the lone standout to come from the slower half of the qualifying order into this semifinal round of 4. For Derek Menholt, a successful day so far, of course. The points leader always wants to go as deep as possible at every given race to maintain that points lead. Maintaining lane choice has certainly been a key factor in their success today, seemingly, as both he and Thielen roll up. And again, they're right with each other in reaction time, within 100. And when we get down to the finish line, this is going to be Mike Thielen. 575 beats a 576 by 2 inches at 250 miles an hour. They have simply 74 and 75 people to death out of the left-hand side of the racetrack, and Thielen has been there for it all day long. A fall-off in performance for Menholt allowed the roots-blown Mustang to catch him and pass him by 2 inches at the finish line stripe. That is unbelievable. Look at the margin here as both of those cars charge to the line. The burnout for Jason Collins, who will take on Lyle Barnett. Collins trying to make what would be his second final in a row. Let's talk to Mike Thielen, who's going to the final. We know that already.
Mike, you've avoided me every round to survive the jinx of not interviewing so you could make it to your first final here, and you said it is a mountain to climb. How do you survive one more push?
I don't know. It's I got the easy part. Junior's got the tough part, but he's got this thing on a rail, very consistent. And I think that's the name of the game, is just, you know, run after run. Just, we're not the fastest ones out here, but we're making it down. So that's the most important part.
And here comes that second half of the semifinals. The Outlaw Light Beer Camaro of Barnett of the Billy Banica Racing Camp, and the Scott Tidwell owned Jason Collins masterfully driven Chevrolet Camaro. Brightly colored machines pull into stage. 26 and 32. Once again, Barnett's car tries to make a banana-shaped run, and this time he's not going to be able to catch his opponent, as Collins goes 639.9 at 242, having to employ his considerable skills as a wheelman. This guy's driven everything over the years, and he needed those skills here. Barnett's car did the exact same thing it did last run, perhaps even more violently, as both cars shook the tires. You saw Collins' car shook twice. Watch this. Barnett again with all the steering wheel in it, and this time there was no catching his opponent as he did the previous round. The most impressive part for me is Collins pedaling the car, still shaking the tires, gathered it back up again, and now Amanda Busick's going to talk to our second finalist, Jason Collins.
Jason Collins into the final here at SGMP, and you said that one was a bit hairy out there. What were you doing inside that race car?
Yeah, left start line and was just rattled the tires, started pedaling. My crew was going, go, 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 go. It was like, oh my God. So I'm pedaling. I don't know where Lyle is. So I'm just pedaling, trying to get to the other end. And finally it catches, takes off down through there and made it to the finish line. So we're going to try to bring it home if we can. We got to run our teammate. So it's going to be a little tough. He's running real good. So thank y'all again. Appreciate y'all having us. Appreciate it.
And with that work being done, the finalists will make the corner, will come up, and we'll see it all when we come back to South Georgia Motorsports Park. The Pro Mod Finals from the Southern Nationals are up next.
I just wanted to get your thoughts on the new Jeep Grand Cherokee.
It's so bougie and leathery.
Slow down! Slow down!
Yeah, what they say. I love the smell of a 2-liter Hurricane 4 turbo engine in the morning.
Right now, purchase and get 0% financing, plus no monthly payments for 90 days. Or get $2,500 total bonus cash allowance on 2026 Jeep Grand Cherokee models.
Safe Light Repair, Safe Light Replace.
Ooh, that's rough. At least with Safe Light, you can get that fixed any way you want.
Anywhere I want. I can schedule a chip fix while I get my hair clipped?
Yep.
They can fix my glass while we fish for bass.
If you want.
They can recalibrate my safety features while I sit at home in my comfy pants?
That one doesn't rhyme, but sure.
Get it fixed any way you want at safelight.com.
Safelite Repair, Safelite Replace.
Get ready to race down the track with Mission Foods. It's a green light for the NHRA Mission Foods Drag Racing Series, packed with fast action and tasty products. Fully loaded tacos, fast wraps, piled high nachos. Whatever you crave, Mission will help you be race ready with easy to make recipes that will take your race day to the finish line. Keep your racing delicious and enjoy all the mouth-watering action. Brought to you by Mission Foods. Too fast, too tasty.
NHRA Drag Racing. It's an experience fueled by 75 years of thrills, where car culture takes on a whole new meaning. Only here you can see 340-mile-per-hour speeds.
341!
Then meet your heroes just moments later. So, what are you waiting for? See it live when NHRA roars into Maryland May 29th through 31st, Epping June 5th through 7th, and Bristol June 12th through 14th. Get tickets today at NHRA.com.
Racing has always been about pushing limits, but the future isn't just horsepower. It's intelligence. Vision FT isn't just software. It's a platform, a new way to see, a new way to control, the future at your fingertips. Built for today's racers, everything that comes next. This is Vision FT. This is Fuel Tech.
The fact that the glaciers are falling apart is not calming me. What's the worst that can happen?
Cold water is unforgiving.
Full on, I'm scared of drowning.
The NHRA Southern Nationals are presented by Elite Motorsports, the premier source for race-ready equipment. And this one's going to be for all the peaches. As you can see, Thielen and Collins sharing a sportsmanlike handshake before the final round. Both men strapping into their machines. For Jason Collins and Mike Thielen, seeking that the Diamond Jubilee Wally here for the 75th anniversary season of NHRA Championship Drag Racing. As we get one more look at our Lucas Oil competition ladder, both of these fellas heat the tires. A great sold-out crowd here at South Georgia Motorsports Park, as we can see how Thielen has done the job against J.R. Gray, Mike Stavrinos, and then Derek Menhold. Meanwhile, Collins took out Wright Frigo and then Barnett in the semifinal round. A packed house in front of fans that love their door slammer drag racing here. The legacy of this racetrack largely built on this style of competition. For Mike Thielen, he has finally been pushed to the other side of the racetrack. Thielen has lived in the left lane all day long. Collins has lived in the right lane all day long, but now they find themselves on opposite sides. And they snap off the starting line. 009 light for Jason Collins. Thielen has the front end up, had to pedal it, and for the first time in his already decorated career, Jason Collins is an NHRA Pro Modified season winner here. 573-1-252, picking up the Diamond Jubilee Wally at the Southern Nationals. The man from Alabama getting it done, as Thielen had a wild ride for himself early on there. The car climbing up onto the wheelie bars, he having to lift. But for Jason Collins, a first national event win in Pro Modified, a huge accomplishment for this already decorated guy who was with Amanda Busick.
In just his second race in NHRA Pro Mod, Jason Collins is a national event winner with that 75th anniversary Diamond Wally. You hopped out of your race car and you said, I don't even believe this. Do you believe it now?
Believe it. It's hard to believe. I mean, I got to thank the Lord. I got to thank my dad, my mom, and they spent a lot of money helping me learn how to drive a race car. I know it's my second NHRA race, but I've done a lot of racing in my life. And I want to thank Scott Tidwell. I want to thank my crew, Franny, Cam, Barry, Louie, the guys that do the tuning, Steve Petty, Chris Terry, and this is a bad race car. A radial guy won a race. What are you saying? He said radial guys can't drive, right? So I guess it's something about blue Camaros and Jason Collins. They win a lot of rounds. All right.
And Jason Collins becomes the 55th driver in the quarter-century history of this class to hoist a Wally. Justin Bond has now taken the points lead from Derek Menhold by 2 numbers. You see Steverino sitting back there, and we can see Chip King and Sidney Frigo, J.R. Gray still in that 100-point back zone, and they need to start making ground quickly. Upcoming events on the tour include Chicago, Bristol, and Norwalk, Ohio. It is an 11-race season in 2026. The road to the championship will be insane, and the competition has never been better. The Pro Modifieds launch here into the world of South Georgia Motorsports Park has been fantastic. They were great all weekend long. You saw the seesaw action in eliminations, the sideways runs, and ultimately Jason Collins picking up a victory.